Continuing on, number 17 says the expenses for a school dance are as follows. Okay, and so we've got a room rental, a DJ, decorations, and security. If the expenses are rounded to the nearest $100 and tickets cost $40 each, then what is the estimated number of tickets that must be sold to repay the expenses? So we're doing an estimate in this one. And in the problem, it tells us that these expenses are rounded to the nearest $100. Okay, so I'm going to just write down the problem first, and then we'll go back around before we do our final sum. So we've got $39.67 plus $5.63 plus $23.11 plus $500. Now, it doesn't say add and then round. It says the expenses are rounded to the nearest 100. So I've got to go back and look at each one of these, and to round to the nearest 100, I'm looking at the place before that. So I'm looking at the tens value. So looking at the tens value, we want to make our decision, the tens place. So in the first one, our tens value is 6. So that tells us I need to round this up. So instead of this being 39, I'm going to round this up to 4,000 because it's greater than 5. The tens value here is greater than 5. So I'm going to round this 5 up to 6. Here the tens value is 1, which is less than 5. So I'm going to leave this the same, 2,300. And here the tens value is 0, so I leave it the same. So that's going to be 500. Once I've done all my rounding, then I want to add all this together, and that gives me a grand total of $7,400. So that's how much it's going to cost them to have this dance. Well, they're selling the tickets for $40 each. So how many tickets must they sell? Well, if I take $7,400 and divide it by $40 each, that should give me the number of tickets, right? So when I do this arithmetic here, we end up with 185 tickets. And all of this, because we rounded there, the very first step, all of this is an approximation. And that's what they're asking us for, an estimated number. So our estimated number of tickets is 185. Now, in the next problem, we've got a parking lot that has a total of 50 parking spaces. If each space measures 8 feet by 12 feet, what is the best estimate for the area of the parking spaces? Well, a parking space is a rectangle, and since it's 8 by 12, we know how to find that area. We just multiply length times width. So 8 times 12 is 96 feet squared. That's the area of the parking space. But it's asking us for an estimate. So we need to round this 96 feet square to do the arithmetic here. So instead of just multiplying 50 times 96, we're going to multiply 50 by an estimate here. 50 times 100. So 50 times 100 is about 5,000 square feet. One main reason we use estimation is because it allows us to do the math in our head. It's pretty easy to multiply 50 times 100 instead of 50 times 96. But that's our estimate. Our estimate is 5,000 square feet. And now for the next problem, we want to find the area of an irregular polygon. Okay, and there's a couple of ways that we could do this, but the main thing is we're going to have to separate this into regions that we can calculate the area of. So I'm going to kind of just draw a little line through here, kind of separate this off, and do the same thing here. And so I've divided this up into 3 rectangles. So to find the area of this rectangle on the left, I need to know length and width. Well, I know this total length here is 10, right? And this length here on this side is 8. So this little piece down here at the bottom, right here, must be 2, right? And since this total length is 12, and this little part is 3, and this part's 3, that means this length here has got to be 6, right? Because it's got to add up to 12. And since this is 2, it's set here in this one, because this length is 8, then this length's got to be 8. And all of this is going to help us find the area of these 3 rectangles. Okay, so to begin with, this first rectangle, let me see if I can highlight a little bit here. Looks like this is a 6 by 8. So we multiply 6 times 8 plus. And then this other rectangle right here is an 8 by 3. So we're going to multiply 8 times 3. And then we have our last rectangle across the bottom here. So as we look at that one, that is a 2 by 12. So we're going to multiply 2 times 12. And then add up these 3 areas. So that gives us 48 plus 24 plus 24. And the total area then is 96 centimeters squared. Now, that's one way to do the problem. We could approach, well, there's several ways we could approach this. We could have, instead of drawing our little segments here horizontally, we could have drawn some vertically, separated it off like that. Or we could have looked at the whole big figure and considered taking out this little area right here in the center. So there's several ways that we could do that type of problem.